Good morning, everyone. Most of you know my company. One of her business clients, very interesting, it was a financial services company that had struggled with staff issues and turnover, low productivity, some poor morale, conflict within the workplace, problems between staff members, work just not getting done. Her job was to find the source of the problem and apply a solution. So she went and interviewed most of the staff, and she observed them working, and she watched their interactions, and basically saw how things were going, saw how the work was being done, and she began to realize exactly what the problem was. The question is the solution something that the leader of the company would be willing to do? And that was the question. I read this book recently by Jim Collins. It's called Good and Great. Highly recommend it. His team spent over a year researching some of the best companies in the world, and they narrowed down all the companies they could list, publicly listed companies for which information is available, down to about 11 companies that were the best performing companies over the longest period of time. And they compared those 11 companies directly to 11 other almost identical companies except poorly performing companies over the same period of time. Same industries, same time period, same size of companies, same everything, just they weren't performing. And they wanted to find out what was the secret ingredient that made these companies great, rather than just mediocre. And right from the start, Jim told his team, this is not going to be another book about leadership. We already know how important that is. We're going to look at what they're doing right in management, in branding, in product development, in finance, in marketing. And we want to know what the great companies are doing that the mediocre companies aren't doing. So what did they find? It came down to one thing. There was one thing that the great companies consistently had that the mediocre companies consistently did not have. Any guesses as to what that was?
Accountability.
Good leadership. Excellent leadership. Absolutely. That's what it came down to. And so in spite of everything, he had to admit that, well, this is what it's all about. But what is leadership? Now we can look at history and find a lot of examples of good leadership, bad leadership. And look at people like Churchill versus people like Hitler. What we find is that there's a consistent picture that begins to form. A good leader, for example, has enormous humility. A bad leader has an enormous ego. A good leader has a vision for the greatness of his organization. A bad leader has delusions of personal grandeur. A good leader has deep personal strength. A bad leader has deep personal issues. A great leader is a servant, helping everyone around him get what they need. A bad leader is a tyrant, demanding that everyone around him meet his needs. A great leader will uphold high standards consistently. A bad leader is capricious, and he seeks approval by changing with whatever way the wind blows. A great leader attracts loyalty through even-handed fairness. A bad leader chases loyalty with favors and special treatment, which ultimately earns him betrayal. Good leaders are like a force of nature, like the weather. They're out there doing what they know is the right thing to do, regardless of what anybody thinks. A bad leader or a weak leader is susceptible to flattery, and yes men seem to multiply around them. A great leader develops the leadership capabilities of those around him and under him. A poor leader eliminates all possible rivals to the long-term detriment of the organization. A great leader gets the right people on the bus, in the right seats, surrounds himself with geniuses. A poor leader's organization can be described as a single genius with 1,000 helpers. It's okay as far as that goes, but it will never be more than that, and its days are numbered. Superior leaders give credit to other people and take blame for themselves. Substandard leaders take all the credit for themselves and all the blame goes on to other people. Great leaders work like a plow horse. Poor leaders plow like a show horse. A nation, a business, even a family usually gets the leader they deserve. A leader usually gets the organization that he or she deserves. That is, just like somebody standing in front of a lamp in front of a wall, their shadow gets cast on that wall larger than life. The organization becomes a projection, a reflection of the leader himself. And so, the book, Good to Great, turned out to be primarily a book about leadership in spite of Jim Collins' intentions for it not to be, because that's where it comes down to in business. Business is no better or worse than the leader of the business. Everything that happens in the business is the leader's responsibility, if not directly his fault, but often is. Now, the results of Yvonne's inquiries at this financial services company, who will remain nameless, it came down to one problem. The source of all the problems in the company was, any guesses? You got it. The leader. Unfortunately, nothing changed in this business because the leader was unwilling to change. He wanted the organization to somehow be different than he was, and different from his own dismal work habits, his own shocking communication skills, his inability to inspire loyalty, and his inability to manage his emotional state and his relationships with other people. But I can't change, it's just the way I am, he said. And that's the biggest lie of all. People can change, and when they want to badly enough, they do change. I just want to leave this with you today. How badly do you want your business to be a great business? And what are you willing to do to make it so? Just something to think about as you go about your day, and as you do so, I hope that you all have a great day. Thank you.